Welcome into the Illini Nation pregame show. Bret Beherns and Derek Piper here before Illinois basketball gets ready to take on Western Illinois in a little interstate matchup between these two schools. And Brad Underwood, very familiar with this Leatherneck program, coached there for 10 years, Derek. I always say if you spend 10 years in Macomb, you're better than most. But Illinois getting ready to face Western Illinois, 8 o'clock tip on Big Ten Network. So this one on TV tonight. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Hope you enjoyed the holiday with your family and friends. And Derek, what are we going to learn about Illinois tonight?
Probably not a whole lot.
Okay.
I think it'd probably be a good thing for Illinois. It was just kind of a ho-hum, up big, and just cruise to victory. Unfortunately, you don't get to see more of Nico Moretti, which we can touch on a little bit here with the foot injury. You see him over there with the crutches and still in a boot. Brad Underwood didn't want to provide too many details.
He did not.
To us there on Wednesday, but not playing tonight. I imagine I don't think he's going to be playing for a while if I were to give you a gauge based on what I've heard on that. So we'll see going forward. He was a bright spot as we look back to Sunday against Southern. But yeah, off the bench, Amani Hansberry, if Illinois is able to be in a position of strength most of this game, it's an opportunity for your bench. Would like to see Justin Harmon getting a little bit more of a rhythm. But for the most part, it's handle your business, get back to the practice court. You have another week before you go out.
Yeah.
A big East Coast swing at Rutgers, first game of Big Ten play. Florida Atlantic looked pretty good, by the way, today, beating Texas A&M. So bigger games really loom here. Last game on your home court before you're going to play a couple away from home.
Yeah, and for me, the biggest thing is that bench. How much can you get those guys some reps? We saw some of that flash. And from Nico Moretti, I thought he looked pretty good when he was out there as a true point guard. Coleman Hawkins also not playing tonight for the Illini. Not a big surprise there. I don't think he plays until Rutgers, which is now the case because there's not another game until Rutgers next Saturday in the Big Ten opener. Knee tendonitis for Coleman. But can Amani play 20-plus minutes like he did the other night again? I thought that was important. Yes, we saw Dane flash early, but Amani was the one that I thought got more out of that game than even Dane. Certainly, there's still some things that Dane needs to clean up, notably free throws, the biggest part out of that. But can we get some more minutes, for Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn coming off that bench to get him comfortable some more? What else do we need to see from those guys in a game where you're favored by 27.5 points? Just in one of those games, like you said, take care of your business. Like, go out and do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, 100%. And you look at Amani, this is a game when you kind of look a little bit at the other side. I know when you're facing a team that's picked in the 300s in terms of Ken Palm, they're considered one of the worst D1 teams out there that you usually focus a lot internally on what you need to address. And I know that Luke Goody mentioned that they're installing more plays in their offense, kind of to add more wrinkles and really take that next step. Maybe you get past mastering the basic concept in your offense, now you try to add more to it. So we'll see how that looks tonight. But in terms of Amani, like Western, one of their biggest strengths is rebounding. So we know that Amani is very gritty and tenacious on the glass. We'll see how he does in this battle where Western's got a 6'11" big man, D2 transfer, who's been putting up double-double numbers. Just in general, they crash the glass really well. So that's what I'm looking for in terms of Amani goes. Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn obviously had a really nice opener against Eastern Illinois with 18 points. Hasn't had the shot going since then. I still want to see him kind of make more of an emphasis on going to the rim. Not that he's a bad shooter or anything, not that he shouldn't take jump shots, but I think athletically he's just a guy that can make a lot of things happen going towards the basket. But yeah, when you start this season, we talk so much about depth and really play to this team's strength. You have Sincere Harris make the redshirt decision. You suffered a couple of injuries. I think Coleman will be back against Rutgers, but for right now, your bench is really shortened, and that kind of really just puts the onus on those guys that are going to play well, because it's not where Brad has as many options to say, all right, this guy doesn't have it tonight, then I'm going to sub this guy in. So you kind of are relying more on a solid 8 just based on necessity tonight.
Yeah, and can they play a cleaner brand of basketball? That's something I'm looking forward to tonight. To see out of this team, 21 turnovers, that's not good enough. And I understand, like, Southern presses the pace. That's what they do. But at the same point, like, you're Illinois, right? Like, you have better athletes. You should not turn the ball over that many times against a mid-major to low-level opponent. So can Illinois shoot better from the free throw line? Can they play a better brand of basketball, not turning the ball over? Can you win the rebounding battle? Just simple things against an opponent like Western Illinois that they should do, but now they got to go do it, right? You just – can you not have a Thanksgiving hangover in a sense. We'll see. I don't know. That's why they play the game.
Which I think it would be very easy to fall into that trap of eat all the turkey yesterday, the pumpkin pie and whatnot, and maybe feel a little full, not too motivated.
Yeah.
I had my second Thanksgiving today, another one tomorrow. So am I going to be a little sleepy tonight at 8 p.m. tip-off?
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe, but I think the fans can get away with if I'm not on my A game. But as far as this team goes, I want them to be very businessman-like and just understand that the earlier you put them away, the earlier you can really turn the page, get into focusing on the start of Big Ten play, these bigger matchups to get more of a rise out of you really matter more on your schedule. So if they're able to execute early and clean up some of the stuff, which is what practice is all about, which is why a coach really loves that break in the schedule to address things and clean up the finer details. And I agree. I think obviously Southern, they turned Arizona over 23 times. Arizona's a really, really good team. But also you got to take some onus on your own side and say, all right, we were very sloppy. We made some poor decisions. And now with Nico out, and I don't want to make too big of a deal. Like, he wasn't going to be your starting point guard, at least at this stage. Could he have earned that down the stretch? Who knows? He's got to do it against better competition. But there is something to be said for your one true point guard on your roster is now on the shelf. Yeah. So the ball handling duties and the decision-making, the facilitating in Illinois just be more sound there going forward without him in that rotation. It looked like he was at least going to be in contention for minutes based on how he was trending. Obviously, now that's not going to be the case.
Let's talk about a positive here, and that's been Luke Goody. Says he's healthy. We talked to him Wednesday. You can sense that confidence from him that he's back to what he was, I would say, at the end of his freshman year. Remember in that Houston game where he really flashed, had some positive momentum at the end of his freshman season, then gets hurt last year, misses all that time. Wasn't really fair for him to come back in a sense because he wasn't himself, but he wanted to play, and I give him credit for that. But he's healthy now. As of Wednesday, he was leading the Big Ten in three-point field goals made at 14. It's probably changed a little bit here because we've had more games, but
it's not anybody on Indiana?
No, it's not. Sorry, Kevin Lighty. But, I mean, I give him a ton of credit for having that confidence. Like, hey, he steps up, they go get Marcus Domask, and he's still the same Luke Goody. I think that says a lot about him and his potential for this team.
100%. Yeah, I mean, the fact that he is someone that you really want out there on the court because his shot making is a difference maker. It was in that first half, especially against Marquette. It really allowed you to hang in that game and make it a close one. And how good's Marquette, by the way? Having watched them blow out Kansas and go toe-to-toe there with Purdue, that was a high-level matchup. Yep. So, Luke, I mean, his rebounding as well. He had 7 rebounds, I believe, the last game against Southern, too. So, we do talk a lot about his ability to be in the right spots, to be someone that the coaching staff really trusts. But the three-point shooting, I mean, 11 threes over the last 3 games, that's big time. That's a knockdown shooter. Illinois didn't really go out and get one of those in the portal. I know Marcus is very capable. Quincy Guerrier's been struggling with the wrist, especially. He's 1 for 16 from 3. So
I like Brad House says, though, he doesn't struggle when he dunks it.
Yeah, that's true. But in general, Luke Goody, a pure knockdown shooter for a team that doesn't really have a lot of those. So that just really emphasizes more importance for him to be that guy. And credit to him, I will say last year, like you mentioned, like him coming back initially, it wasn't a surprise for someone that missed that much time. Shooters are so rhythmic and needing to get those reps and those, that rhythm. He didn't have it, but he did finish the season strong, able to make threes in that Big Ten tournament game against Penn State and the NCAA tournament against Arkansas. So he's carried that over. The confidence is there, and he's put the work in too.
Should be a positive thing for Illinois if he can continue that. Look, I don't know if he's going to shoot 49% the whole season, but even a 40% three-point shooter. Okay, here's one for you. When's the last time Illinois had a 40% three-point shooter?
Woo! DeMonte Williams.
He led the country
in three-point shooting percentage.
I would say it's probably – was Alfonso there? He had to be close.
Yeah.
But, I feel like we forget about him sometimes. People are always like, well, Illinois they never had that guy. Okay, well, they have. He was Alfonso Plummer. He was really good.
Yeah. Grandison shot a pretty high percentage as well. But, Plummer probably the last 40%. But DeMonte in that same range.
I forgot about DeMonte's, heater year. Yeah. That was incredible.
The COVID year.
That was it, man.
He opened the corner. It was money.
He was able to knock him down. All right, let's just get right to it. How are we feeling about this one? What'd you pick? 27.5, I believe, was the line I saw.
Yeah, opened around 25 up to 27. I think Illinois handles them tonight. I think they scored in the 80s once again. They scored 88 against Southern. I have them scoring about 83 tonight.
Okay.
Western Illinois, I got 83 to 55. So I have them winning by 28. I'm doing my math correctly.
I don't do math, Derek. I just talk for a living.
28.
Okay.
Western, all the metrics on them offensively are really, really poor. They don't shoot the three very well. They turn it over at a high rate. If you can keep them off the offensive glass, I think they're going to have a really hard time scoring. So I think they're going to be challenged to get to 60 points tonight. Yeah. Illinois, if they execute, do their thing offensively, I think they'll create a big separation and be able to cruise pretty easy.
Yeah, that defense really has been the calling card for this team.
11th in the country right now.
I mean, very, very good. Brad loves that. I know the fans clamoring for more offense, but I don't think Brad cares. I think he just wants that defensive prowess because he knows that's going to win in the Big Ten, and it's been proven the last 4 years. I'm going to pick. I'm going to say a little turkey hangover. I'm going to say 76-58. That's my prediction. We'll see where it's at. A lot of practice for Illinois here, and to me, Derek, that's the biggest thing. They've got 3 really, really tough games. Now, Rutgers maybe not as good as what we had thought of at the beginning of the season. You go Rutgers, FIU, Tennessee. We're going to find out here in the next 3 weeks what this team is made of. And this time on the court now practicing, I think Brad loves it, right? Like, this is where they're going to really get better in the nitty-gritty, right?
Yeah, it allows you to come up and take a breath and really self-evaluate what you've shown so far. And, then getting ready for this big stretch of tests. And Tennessee has looked to be one of the best teams in the country. Dalton Connect might be one of the best transfers out there. Illinois was one of the laundry list of schools involved with him during the portal period. But FAU, like I mentioned, great guard play. That's going to be a fun one. Jimmy V Classic. Excited for Andy Olson and I to go out there, hit Rutgers, and then
run it back.
Go back to the Garden. Maybe see Rockefeller Center again with the Christmas tree. That's pretty good, very festive. But Rutgers, a good defensive squad. You look at their, defensive metrics, exactly where you expect them to be. They're top 25 defense. They're very challenged offensively, and it makes sense. Cliff and Moore are really the only thing going they got in terms of a solid, consistent option. But those games will mean a lot. Illinois losing against Marquette in a pretty well-fought game, but you need one of those in that 3 stretch can't go for 3. Especially you'd like to really get one of the FAU or Tennessee to have a marquee win in your resume. Not going to get one tonight, but make sure it's not a Valpo situation where you're down at halftime and having to really try to ignite it when it gets a little sweaty. Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, Derek's got 3 keys and a pick on Illini Inquirer, but listen, you've got him in television visual form here, What's better than that? The big man. Sometimes on the radio, too. Live on digital, live on the radio, You really give it all, Derek. You give the people what they want. That's what matters. I can't be a 5-tool player. 3 tools. Okay. Trying to bring those. But appreciate the opportunity as always. It's fun. All right. Check out Illini Inquirer. We'll have the post-game stream on these same digital channels after the game. 8 o'clock tip on Big Ten Network, Illinois and Western Illinois. For Derek.